This is Crystal Racing here with a race report, if you can call it that, for today's 2021 Belgian Grand Prix. I say race using these because, in quote marks, because that was all race. 3 laps behind the safety car. Sergio Perez crashed out, and then his car fixed for the restart. Only, of course, at the restart, we completed an adequate number of laps in order to declare a race result. Half points were given after only 3 laps, and Nikita Mazepin picked up his first career fastest lap with a stunningly, breathtakingly fast time of 3 minutes 18.016. Oh man, I'm just gonna laugh, to be honest, because. And for your race result, Max Verstappen won the race. George Podium picked up his first ever podium finish in Formula 1. And because of that result, along with Latifi finishing ninth, Williams now have 20 points for the season, meaning that they are now at least 17 points ahead of Alfa Romeo in the Constructors' Championship. Alfa Romeo have no chance of finishing P8 now, and I feel sick, to be honest, just thinking about it. After what has been 2 massive fluke results for Williams, and we're just gonna, and I hope to goodness if there is another fluke race that Haas do not benefit, because all they need to do is finish 8th and jump ahead of us, and then we're finishing last. Third place, Lewis Hamilton, and of course with 12.5 points given to Max Verstappen, and 7.5 points handed to Lewis Hamilton for finishing third place. It means that Max Verstappen cuts Lewis Hamilton's lead to just from 8 points down to 3 points. Well, at least we still have the same championship leader, because there's just it would be going a bit too far for us for the championship to be changed like this based on today's non-race. Fourth place, Daniel Ricciardo. Well, at least he completed a lap in Q3, because frankly his performances so far this season, as we all know, have been absolutely awful. And today's result was a complete and utter non-result. Fifth place, Sebastian Vettel, Aston Martin. He gets 5 points. Daniel Ricciardo will get 6 points for finishing fourth. Pierre Gasly gets 4 points for finishing 6th for AlphaTauri. Esteban Ocon gets 3 points for finishing 7th for Alpine. Charles Leclerc gets 2 points from Ferrari for finishing 8th. Nicholas Latifi gets 1 point for finishing 9th for Williams. And Carlos Sainz gets half a point for finishing 10th for Ferrari. I don't think there are any other changes in the constructors table, except for, of course, what's happened between Williams extending their points advantage over Alfa Romeo from 7 points to now 17 points. That points always surely now going to be insurmountable for Alfa Romeo to overhaul, like I've said. Looking at the rest of the table, I really don't. I'm just going to check. McLaren got 6 points with Ricciardo and Leclerc, and I think McLaren now are back in third place. With of course the third place all by themselves, since of course thanks to the Ricciardo result, they are now 4.5 points ahead of Ferrari in the constructors table. Of course, thankfully, it's not giving them a huge advantage, because otherwise that would be such a horrific force. Yeah. Well, and of course, I think you now know what you want my opinion about the whole thing is. That yeah, we should have completed those 3 laps about 2 or 3 hours earlier. Really, we should have completely. It should have been obvious that there was no chance of us being able to run a race today with the amount of downpour here at Spa today. Just ridiculous. Just you know, if you go on my F1 account on Twitter, the 1991 Australian Grand Prix was the shortest F1 race in F1 history up until today, where 14 laps were completed, where, of course, half the field crashed out and Ayrton Senna one end of Nigel Mansell, who missed the podium ceremony because he needed to go to hospital. Berger finished third. BK finished fourth in what was his final F1 career appearance. Fifth place was Riccardo Patrese, and sixth place was Gianni Morbidelli, filling in for Alain Prost, who had been sacked by Ferrari pre-race, and of course half points were awarded for what was an extremely wet race at Adelaide, where half the field crashed out, should have never been ran, just like today's race. Of course, the most recent race until today where half points were awarded was the 2009 Malaysian Grand Prix, where Jenson Button won the race, got 5 points for winning ahead of Nick Heidfeld, Timo Glock, Jarno Trulli, Rubens Barrichello, Mark Webber, Lewis Hamilton, and Nico Rosberg, who, by the way, Nico Rosberg actually led the first 15 laps of that race. Had an amazing start and showed some real composure to lead in the midfield Williams, and of course, how can we forget the 2005 US Grand Prix? Absolute farcical race where 14 cars were forced to withdraw before the race due to the fact that Michelin couldn't build a tyre strong enough to take the G forces at turn 30, which of course, when the Indy cars race around it, is actually turn 1 for the oval track. But of course, thanks to Ralf Schumacher having a massive accident at that part of the circuit for a second year in a row, since of course Ralf Schumacher suffered a horrible back injury from Williams the year prior, crashing there. Turns out to be that Michelin's tyres really were not strong enough to take the G loading there, and because Michelin could not guarantee to create a tyre strong enough for that corner, the cars were forced to pull out to avoid legal action. Kimi Räikkönen had been threatened with the sack if he actually started a race by Ron Dennis. That was how bad it was. Don't think it didn't really affect what happened in that year's championship, since of course Kimi finished 21 points behind Fernando Alonso in the championship due to the fact his car broke down far too many times that year. But, for me, though, today's 2021 Belgian Grand Prix is arguably the biggest farce, one of the very biggest farces in F1 history, and I've got to say, because of that, I am not awarding any sort of driver performance scores for today's race. It would just be absolutely ridiculous. Yes, I know some George Russell fans will be upset because, we had an amazing qualifying lap yesterday, yeah, but he's basically picked up what is his first career podium, resulting in the most ridiculous circumstances. It was a political move by the FIA to avoid being forced to cough up money to sponsors who be like, well, you've got to declare a result of some sort. The FIA is a mess right now. Liberty Media are a mess. Michael Massey, man, that guy is not good enough. I don't want to keep ranting and raving. If you want to sit there and want to know what I think of how well the drivers have done this season, I've done a mid-season review video. I did it this morning because I just simply couldn't be bothered to do it during the summer break, so I did it this morning. And, I don't want to repeat it because there's no point needing to say any more. What can I say? I think, the fallout is going to be pretty severe. There's going to be a lot of fingers being pointed at a lot of people. And, I really don't want to carry on doing this video because I'm just going to start moaning and crying now. Yeah, extremely bad day for Formula 1 in general. And as for the fans who attended today, I hope they get a refund because they just stood there in the rain and saw no action whatsoever. Just a joke, really. I know, of course, the cars couldn't run, but surely the FIA should have said about 3 hours ago, we can't run the race. Go home, everyone. We'll just do, like, the minimum 3 laps required so we can get this done and over with, and that would have been it. Just get it done and over with. I don't want to waste my time. The drivers and teams don't want to waste their time. So, if you enjoyed this video, I don't know how you could have enjoyed it. hit the like button, subscribe, comment. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Yeah, and thank you for watching.